Hey, what's going on everybody? My name is Jay and welcome to the Shiplife. We got a lot to go over in today's episode. So in breaking news, the NCL Escape has run aground, basically meaning they've hit land with thousands of passengers on board. The CDC is again lowering their travel warning for cruising, which is a great sign for the entire industry. And Australia will be ending its cruise ban after 2 years. Let's go ahead and get started. So this past Thursday on March 14th, the NCL Escape ran aground, or struck land, with 3,200 passengers on board and 1,600 crew. This took place off the coast of Puerto Plata over in Dominican Republic. Now the ship is currently doing a 7-night sailing out of Port Carnival, going to places like the Dominican Republic, their private island over in the Bahamas, Great Stirrup Cay, and St. Thomas over in the US Virgin Islands. Now naturally, when rare situations like this occur, there are going to be debates circulating and rumors popping up as to what could have potentially caused the NCL Escape to run aground. Some people are out there saying it was due to the incompetence of the captain, while reports are now surfacing, which is probably the more likely scenario, that high winds caused this situation to take place. Now thankfully there have been no reports of injuries, nobody has been harmed during this, and there has been presumably no damage to the ship. Now guys, most of you know that I used to work on board the NCL Escape, so this makes this story really interesting to me, and I also have friends that are on board literally right now. Of course, we've been kind of chit-chatting since last night, and overall people are just kind of making jokes about it. They were talking about the ship was slightly leaned over to the right and whatnot, and people were saying they felt like they were drunk and didn't have their sea legs anymore. But anyway, as far as I know, there isn't a lot of information going on about this. I'm sure there is going to be an investigation. However, there has been an update. The ship was essentially waiting for a high tide, since unfortunately the tugboats weren't really making any progress as far as pulling the ship out from the sand. But we are now hearing reports that around 12:45 a.m. the NCL Escape broke free and was able to continue on its sailing and is now en route over to St. Thomas over in the US Virgin Islands. Now moving on, in more breaking news, we have an update when it comes to the CDC. They have now lowered their travel warning from cruising from level 3 to level 2. This is interesting because just 3 months ago, around the end of December sailing into January, the CDC travel advisory was at level 4, which meant do not travel. And they said do not travel whether you are vaccinated or not on board cruise ships. And then we've been kind of seeing things dwindle down. Now this change does come from data that has been collected from the cruise lines toward the CDC in this new voluntary program by the CDC. Basically how it works was, at the beginning of the year around January, the CDC had something known as the CSO, the Conditional Sailing Order, that expired. The CDC then came out with a voluntary plan in which cruise lines can opt into. The only cruise line that opted into it at the time was NCL. However, at the deadline, which is February 18, 2022, all the other cruise lines magically started to opt in. This means that the cruise lines were required to report any COVID cases or any COVID-like cases on board, as well as be part of this color code system, in which if there were a lot of cases on board any of their particular ships, it would go from green to potentially yellow to red, which could prompt things like investigations and stoppage of cruising operations for certain cruise ships. Now when it does come to this big drop down from level 3 over to level 2, which has taken place in the span of less than 30 days, basically the CDC is advising that yes, of course you can still cruise. However, it is highly recommended that you stay up to date when it comes to the vaccinations, which personally I believe is a big step in the right direction when you consider all the data available and pretty much where we are in the world with the pandemic. Now I do know that some people out there have been kind of 50-50. This is just me asking people on board cruise ships and out in the real world what they think of cruising or just travel in general. You have some people that believe that the protocols and that's implemented as far as health and safety are necessary and they should stay there as far as like the testing and stuff like that. However, you have other people that believe it's also time for these things to kind of be laxed up a little bit. Again, considering even the data on board cruise ships and the numbers as far as the lack in COVID cases and hospitalizations, which I think is a valid argument. But either way, guys, we are moving in the right direction, I believe, as far as, you know, continuing to be safe and sail happily without any incidences, any problems, but we'll just have to see. Either way, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below and let's move on. So finally, we do have to talk about Australian cruising, as the federal government over in Australia has decided they are going to let the cruise ban over there expire on April 17th, allowing cruising operations to finally resume operations over there after a 2-year hiatus. Now, there are a couple caveats to that. Of course, when it comes to international travel and cruising, we know that a lot of places have been pretty strict when it comes to implementing their health and safety safety protocols or requirements to travel, stuff of that nature, it's not going to be any different when it comes to cruising over in Australia. The federal government has stated that there will be things conducted like stress tests or basically safety drills. They're going to need daily reports on the amount of COVID cases on board cruise ships, similar to what the CDC is doing. And everybody that's going to be sailing on board cruise ships, they're going to have to be double vaxxed. Now, we don't know about the exemption list. I'm sure there may or may not be one. I guess we'll have to wait and see. However, you got cruise lines like P&O Australia that is extremely happy. They do plan on resuming operations on May 31st and will be the first cruise line out there to actually start operations, at least when it comes to the main cruise lines overall, the bigger guys. Either way, guys, I do believe this is great. And honestly, when you look at the numbers over in Australia, it's long overdue. Currently, Australia has 94% of the population over there that has been fully vaccinated. And you also have 12 million people that have been boosted. Now, as far as the fully vaccinated, this is containing adults that are 16 and above, just so we're clear. Either way, guys, when you look at those stats, you look at those numbers, you look at what's happening around the world. Again, this is just my opinion, but long overdue. Either way, guys, that's what we have for cruise news today. Of course, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I do have another video coming out as far as the Wonder of the Seas, the largest cruise ship in the world saga. And who knows, Lauren and I, we may do a live stream later on, just talk about our experience of the ship. Also, guys, I do want to point out, of course, you should, as usual, hit that like button, but even more importantly, subscribe to the channel. I am very, very close to hitting 100,000 subscribers. I'm trying to hit that goal by March 20th. It's very important and special and sentimental for me, but either way, we'll see. Just know that I appreciate every single one of you, and I'll see you later on today. Take it easy.